All right, let's try this again. The cylinder. Cylinders are useful. You know, I use them a lot. Most of the time I do change the vertex amount here. I might set it to 16 so I have more control, like, you know, less vertices. I can control this better while also subdividing it, especially then. And you know, they're useful for any like hard surface project, for instance. I don't really use them for sculpting because the flat surfaces. But yeah, for blocking out stuff like that, they're great tools. Therefore, I'm gonna put it in, let's see, B tier. It's all right. It's like right in the middle. Circles. Now the circle is by far one of the most useful tools or objects in Blender. Again, I rarely use 32 vertices. Usually it's more around 6 or 8. And then I subdivide it. So now it's a perfect circle again, but I can control it way better by, you know, just having lesser control points, or vertices in this case. And it almost works like a curve. And as a matter of fact, sometimes when I need a specific shape, I could just grab a circle. I feel like they're easier to handle rather than having the, you know, actual handles on a curve. Let me show you what I mean. You know, sometimes when you move these around, they can mess up a little bit. It's not that bad, but I'm just saying, like, I could just, you know, summon another vertex just like that, and it won't mess up the overall shape. And then I could convert this to a curve, and then it will actually, like, you know, because it had the subdivision on it, it will give it a lot of control points, but I would not change it after that. I would just use this as a like path or like stitch lines for shoes or clothes or whatever. So really a great tool, great object. So for that reason, I'll put the circle in A tier. Honestly, it could be S tier, but we'll see. The Torus, or the donut, if you've done the Blender Guru donut tutorial series, which I'm guessing you have. We all have. I'm gonna be honest, I don't think I've ever used this object ever again since I finished the tutorial series, which was like 5 years ago. But at the same time, it's like, it is a very specific shape. Like I could guess off the top of my head, if I needed a bracelet for a character or something, I guess I could use it. But then again, usually I just go with a circle and extrude that, and you know, it's all about like ease of use. If I'm gonna have to, like, you know, select parts and delete that, or, you know, dissolve them, that kind of defeats the whole purpose of the object for me. I could also like have a cylinder, poke a hole through it and bevel it, if it means it's easier than using a torus. So really depends on your use case, but in my case it's not really useful, so I'll put it at C tier, but we'll see. The cube, and don't worry, this is not the default cube, this is a cube. Cubes are actually really useful. They are, for me, they are the foundation of any hard surface project. I either start with a cube or a plane, and yeah, sometimes even for sculpting I subdivide it and then apply that, and then I can sculpt with it. And you might ask, well, why use a cube if you can use a sphere? Sometimes I do want to actually block out the shape of an object if it's very specific before I start sculpting on it. And then you might want to add whatever, like your edge loops, your typical, you know, stuff, apply that and then work from that. These are very specific scenarios though, but I still use it. The cube is a great object. Again, more so for hard surface projects than sculpting projects in my case. So for that reason, I'm gonna put the cube at A tier. It's great, great tool. The plane. Now we're talking about some high quality objects. The plane is by far one of the best objects. So for me, it's like the foundation for, you know, really any object, almost any object. Again, I use this for clothes. I use it all the time for retopology. I can use this, I can snap it on a character and subdivide and shrink wrap it, solidify, all that great stuff. But just to show you a few things, like even if I needed a cube, sometimes I just do this and extrude this up, and there you go. It may not be perfect, but you know, I'm gonna shape this thing anyway. Where like I rarely have cases where I need an object to be exactly a cube, but like if it's a device or something, then yeah, I would just grab this and, you know, do whatever with it really. Bevel it and, you know, grab some of the shapes and play around with it, add modifiers or whatever, or to sculpt rocks, you know, stuff like that. For clothes, I usually add the formula of, well, I would add a subdivision and a shrink wrap. In this case, we don't really have something to shrink wrap it onto, so I'll just add the solidify with the subdivision. Let's see, let's set that to 0, and then, you know, imagine this is I don't know, the tongue of a shoe or whatever. That's what it looks like. And, you know, very easy usage, as you can see. And I can control a lot of it with, you know, not that many points. So great tool. I think one of the best objects that you can start from or use for anything. And in the past 5 years, I've done a lot with used planes a lot for my characters that you see on my channel and whatnot. Or if you've seen my live streams, which by the way, those live streams right now are logged just for members only. But as I move forward with new live streams, you know, if you're there, you might catch them. That's why you should subscribe. Anyway, the plane S tier easily. What can I say? Good object. The Suzanne head. All right, now we're talking. Let's see the Suzanne head. I'ma be honest here, like I've used this object in the beginning when I was, you know, just a noob in Blender, and I would test out shaders on this thing, or, you know, maybe sculpt a little bit on it. But other than that, I don't think I've ever really had an actual use for this object. But I feel like it's one of those example like objects, right? Like 3ds Max has a teapot, and every other software has their own like specific object that trademarks itself to the software. So yeah, not really much I can say about Suzanne. Therefore I'll put it in let's see, the usage of an object, D tier. Yeah, D tier. I'm sorry, but it's not useful at all. Like that's the whole point of this. Okay, the sphere. Now we're talking about one of the best, even better than a plane, in my opinion. The sphere. Now, when I started out sculpting, I saw a lot of like videos on people that would block out the actual model, like they would add a cube and kind of shape it like the face or certain body parts. But as I sculpted more and more, you kind of get like over the whole blockout process, and you get a little bit more lazier. And at some point, you really like, you know, I no longer need these guidelines. I can just do everything from a single sphere. And that brings me to just using spheres for pretty much anything. And obviously for the head, it's the go-to object, but even for like arms and legs and whatnot, basically for anything, I start out with a sphere. And again, there's plenty of videos on my channel that cover that. Like you've seen me you know, do some of my biggest projects, like the Chun-Li video or Lumi or whatever. They all start out with a sphere, and I keep using spheres for anything, not just boobs and butts, but for all the body parts. Because they're easy, you know. You don't want to have an object that's too complicated, and that kind of like ruins the whole purpose of what you're trying to sculpt. You want to make things as easy as possible, otherwise it will bite you in your ass. The sphere, for that reason, there's this crappy head. I just sculpted with my mouse. But anyway, it was just to show you. Don't take this as an example though. Like, look at my actual good stuff. The sphere, S tier. I'll even put it before the plane. The cone. I forgot this thing existed. Honestly, I could have put more objects on there, but you know, I wanted to like break it down to a couple. The cone is a weird one. I'll be honest, I cannot trust anyone that uses the cone as the foundation for any object that they're creating. Because I mean, let's be honest, what's the point of this? I could just create a circle and extrude this, bring it together, and there you go. If I needed this exact shape, like it's so specific. You might disagree and say like, well, I use the cone all the time for, I don't know, like a party hat. If I need a party hat, I immediately use the cone, or it's so useful. I could do cool stuff with it. I can create the foundation of, I don't know, like a machine gun. Imagine there's a machine gun on this thing. Okay, fine. Again, ease of use. When I think of a circle, my mind opens up to, okay, I can create plenty of objects with that thing. Cone, now you just put me in a position of a challenge. It's like saying to me, like, grab the Suzanne head and then, you know, model a beach ball out of it. Like, what? So it's a little, you know, I get it's a primitive shape, but other than that, I just can't see the use of it. And this comes from someone that's been using this software for God knows how long. I mean, you know how long. I just told you like twice. D tier. If I had like more tiers, F tiers, I would have put it there. All right, this thing. You see that little dot right there? That's a vertex. Now, you won't see this little menu unless you have extra objects enabled, which is a free add-on that comes with Blender. So enable it, and then you can add a single vert, and it always snaps to edit mode. And that used to confuse me a lot, but otherwise you can't see it, I think. But anyway, there it is. So if you just hit A, you will see it. Now, you might think, what's the point of a vertex? For retopology, this is the main thing that I use it for. This is my main go-to object, because, you know, you could do it the other way. Like most people, they create a cube or a plane or whatever, and they merge all the vertices at the center, and then you have a vertex. You could do it that way. Fine. You know, really, honestly, like, how much time are you really saving with it? Not that much. But at the same time, ease of use. I've been hammering on that fucking sentence this whole video, but it is important. If you have an avatar, like character or whatever, let me just, all right, here I have a, you know, quick little crappy sculpture of Goku that I don't know, sculpted at some point. Yeah, you know, the topology of this thing is all over the place because it's sculpted, obviously, except for the hair. But so if I were to retopologize this thing, I would usually set my 3D cursor somewhere on the face, usually the lips, and then add my single vert, set this to the snapping to face project, add mirror, subdivision, shrink wrap, there we go, and then duplicate the subdivision, put it afterwards as well, and that's it. Then I can start, and I can, you know, boom, let's turn on clipping there, just essentially turn this tier list video into a retopology video. No, I'm joking, but you know, then you can do all that, and you get the idea. It's crappy, but you're supposed to snap them on like that. There you go, and there's your lip retopology. Very crappy one, but there it is. So yeah, anyway, for that reason, you know, it's a good object. I wouldn't quite put it at S tier, maybe like A tier. I guess that's a good one. So there you go, that's my Blender object tier list. Let me know in the comments down below if you agree with this, what your S tier objects are in Blender. But for now, get out of here. What are you doing here? Don't make me have another rant. Tell you, you know, to touch grass. Do you hear what I'm saying, huh? Do you hear what I'm saying? Seriously, get out of here. Get out. Out.